Yeah, and like
That's
getting
hilarious.
crazy returns for a while. I'm like, fuck yeah, double down. And then of course the second I double down, it's like, yo, you fucking
That's
idiot.
Is this your first time on a
Yeah.
podcast, by the way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Welcome.
What do you think about the setup and whatnot?
I love it. I'm kind of like shocked. Shock and all. Like I haven't seen anything like this before. I guess I've only seen it a few times, but never where I was actually actively involved with it.
Yeah.
So it's a little odd, especially when you guys are staring at me with this.
I don't know.
It's a
I'll
little
look
odd,
over here.
but
I can look over here.
No, it's okay. I welcome it, but it's cool. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for coming on. And
Mr. B.
Mr. B is the easiest route we
Mr.
take.
B is good. Mr. B is good.
BB, baby.
BB.
Babe.
BB, Mr. B is a little bit better than that.
We'll go with Mr. B. But Mr. B, appreciate you so much for hopping on the show.
Yeah, thanks.
And for everyone else tuning in, welcome to Eat My Assets, episode 14.
14, that's my lucky number. Because it's Troy Bolton's number in High School Musical.
Wait, was last episode 14? I feel like I've heard her say this before.
You
But
said
No,
that
last
before.
episode was 13. Because remember we talked about the 13th elevator floor or the
Right,
floor in the
myth
building.
with that.
Yeah,
right?
so that
Yeah.
was the conversation.
Yeah,
Where did that originate? Isn't it like bad luck? And then it was so much so that whenever they would build buildings, they
Mhm.
wouldn't put a 13th
Exactly.
floor.
But
right?
then
It would be-
14 would be the 13th. That doesn't make sense to me. Oh my God, we're all people of color.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Wow.
D and I.
Talk about DE and
Oh, it's D, E, and I?
equity,
Ah,
Equity. Yeah.
equitable.
look
yeah.
at this.
Yeah.
Wow, look at us.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
I feel like most people
one
do. Oh, were we? I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I didn't even realize. I was really trying to think about what we just spoke about.
For everyone else tuning in, Eat My Assets, what we're about, really trying to help you understand how New Yorkers are managing their finances today. So it goes without saying, this information here, it's not financial advice. But with that, I'm joined here by our co-star, Roz.
Star. It's the first time you said that. Hey.
It'll be co-something every time. And then we got Mr. B. Mr. B, join us. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
You're sort of recently new to New York City, too. Is that correct?
Very since September,
Oh.
end of August.
Mm.
Yeah. Very
New York
new.
baby.
Yeah. Which is great that I'm here because hopefully you guys can help me think through some things.
What's like the difference that you've seen so far between New York and Dallas?
Well, I would say the expenses are a little bit same, but also they vary. I say for New York, it's very front end, whereas Dallas is more back end. So if I wanna, if I want to do something, it's down the line it'll be more expensive. Like say like housing.
Oh, yeah.
The nicer I want to go, obviously you're gonna
Interesting.
pay more. But if I had to find something immediately there, I can find something pretty nice for a smaller amount. Whereas here, it's like the brokerage fee. I didn't even know what that was. I paid like $4,000.
You paid
Oh
$4,000
my
for the
God.
brokerage
Yeah,
fee?
$4,000 for the brokerage fee, and then we paid
No.
because I have one other roommate, and then we paid like 1.5 of like what the rent would be. So we paid additional to like what the first month would have been, but then we added to it.
To who?
Plus, I don't know. It's a property management something.
No.
Oh
It was
my
insane.
God.
So the move alone for me out of pocket immediately was like $6,000.
But like that broker's fee, do they charge it based on the first month's rent, or do they just charge a random ass fee?
I guess it varies because we
Wow.
asked them. We essentially said we'll sign today, but you're gonna have to reduce this
Yeah. Oh my
drastically because I
God.
think originally it was 6 to 7, maybe 8. And
Oh
I mean,
my
our apartment
God.
is nice, but it is not
Dude,
nice
That's
to
Is
that
that
extent.
legal? That is so much.
It
That's like
has to
3
be
times
legal
your
here,
rent.
I guess. Yeah,
Right?
That's crazy.
shell shock.
Yeah.
shock.
How much was rent in Dallas back?
Oh wow. Including utilities and everything, I was spending maybe 15.
Wow.
Rent
Yeah.
itself was
Including
14.
utilities?
Yeah.
Wow.
Could pay
15,
for 4
15
months.
60. Now here it's rent's probably 16.50, and then after everything else included, probably like 17.
Mhm.
17.
Damn, so that 4,000 fee was
That was
fuck
I
ton
was
of
so I was surprised.
I
was
literally
like, wow,
couldn't
this is
even
great.
pay that. Like I don't have that much to pay.
No,
I
no.
mean, that's a lot of that's a lot of money
It's a
for
lot.
Out of pocket.
anyone. Yeah.
Pretty
Mhm.
crazy.
What brought you to New York, by the way? Was it your job specifically?
So much so that it was a new job. So more opportunistic. I was not loving what I was doing in Dallas. Essentially, what I was doing is I was doing. You see the memories, the flashback. I got back to it. No.
Just went into deep.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, you could see it on my face.
sorrow.
You could. So I was doing sales for a tech startup and everything like that. So there's obviously pros and cons with any type of startup that you're doing, but
Yeah.
it was so much so that it just wasn't worth the bandwidth in terms of like my energy,
Yeah.
my day to day. Like it was too demanding, and just even on like the financial end, it wasn't as rewarding as it should have been. It was a great opportunity, especially like coming straight out of college. Fine, but
Yeah.
I got poached with a better offer, and I got a New York offer, some say,
Yeah,
and I was like,
snaps.
well, I'll just do that instead.
Was it the typical like SDR? You start off as SDR, make your way up like account
Yep,
executive sort
exactly.
of deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
How,
So,
how much are you getting? Oh, sorry, what were you saying there?
oh no, you're right on the money with that. I didn't even, cut you
Oh, we
off,
like
yeah.
puns over here.
We
quite,
do like puns.
quite literally.
I'm glad you guys got that.
Did you wear green on purpose because you're coming on the
my
show for the?
God.
No, this was an accident.
But now you are a pun.
Now I am a walking pun.
Subliminal. He knew the subliminal.
I did.
messaging
Yeah.
I
coming in.
did. I did.
How much were you making when you started off there?
Oh wow, it was abysmal. It really was.
Wait,
like
what
I
does that
don't.
mean?
It was just really small.
Oh.
I don't know
It's
why
bad, yeah.
I accepted it. It was like
Damn.
before I even brought commission in, it was like hovering 40s, like mid 40s, really bad. But
Is that
then
typical?
after commission, it was very good.
Yeah.
But
Is an
that's-
SDR like typical entry range like 40?
In New York, it's a little bit higher just because it's New York
probably like
City.
60 now in New York.
Yeah, 50,
60
Okay.
is
55,
yeah.
60.
That makes sense.
Everywhere else, I'd say 40, 45. If you get 50, that's good.
Yeah, so that's
Wow.
that's like within
Mhm.
realm, but
It's
You're-
an incentive job, though. So, I mean,
Yeah.
they want to give you what you can live off of, but I don't see anyone really living off of 40, 50,
Mm-mm.
realistically. So.
how are you living off that in Dallas?
I never did. I surprisingly did pretty well. So every month I was getting my normal paycheck, but then also I was getting a commission cut
Oh, got you.
every other week. So that was pretty much sustaining me. I think after when I included everything, it was way up there.
Nice. So you were good at your job.
I'm trying to think of it. Yeah, no, I mean, but it's sales, so really, I don't even really think there was any skill involved.
How much are you making there with commissions too? You think like in total
Ooh.
salary or compensation? Sorry.
Yeah, I probably so it was like 40, and then I probably with commissions made another 20 on top of that.
Oh hell yeah,
Uh,
that's a really good commission.
yeah,
Like
was good.
66, 33%. That's
yeah.
good.
So it really helped out because initially I was like, "There's no way I could do this," but I guess
Yeah.
that's the driving point is to incentivize yourself. Like, well, if I don't do this, I'm gonna be broke on the street. So
That's true.
might as well do something, you know.
Where did that lead to New York? Because New York is expensive. Like we talked about,
it
New York's
is expensive.
expensive, like-
You mean in terms of the work or
the work and the salary. Like what happened when you moved? Like what job did you take? Were you still an SDR when you moved, or were you already an account executive?
So by the time I think I'd gotten one promotion. So essentially, when I started off as like the entry associate level, and then I got
Mhm.
one promotion, which is not their account executive, but like just a bump below that. So more of
Gotcha.
like a business development role.
Yeah.
But like you're still learning the day to day of like the AE role,
Mhm.
stuff
Yeah.
like that, get incorporated. So if I stuck another 6 months to a year, I'm sure that would have come about.
In the
But
case,
I was
yeah.
just over it.
Yeah.
I was over it. And then, I found myself here. I kind of told myself, well, I want to do something else. I don't love the front end of sales where I'm doing these cold calls, reaching out. That's horrible. So I
Yeah.
went to the other side of sales. So now I'm in post sales, almost like customer success to some degree.
Oh,
but
you're a
Oh.
CSS. Are you a customer success manager?
almost. It's technically I just manage our clients for the long haul, but very hands-on with it. But I guess you would call it almost like a
Isn't that
customer
what-
success.
We gotta dig in
Yeah.
there. It's a little bit different than my girlfriend's, but
Mhm.
gotta dig in here because when you texted us, that depends on my schedule, and me and
Yeah.
Ron saw that. I was like, what is Mr. B
Yeah.
talking? Like, what does
Yeah.
Mr. B do here?
I don't know. We've known each other for a little bit, and I don't know what you do at all.
Yeah.
That's why I was excited
Oh.
to be
Are you in
here.
the CIA? You do?
Yeah. You'll ask some people that are in my company, and they'll ask me, what do I do?
Oh,
It's
oh.
a pretty newish role, and essentially what we do is we are the middle point of contact for our deliverables, which is essentially like we deliver information. So anything that's back that you need to do.
CIA.
Yeah.
CIA.
So he's in the CIA.
I wish. I don't know if
Blink
I want
twice
to
if
be
you're
in the
the
government
CIA.
side.
Yeah,
You
just
can,
let us
or
know.
wink. Yeah. You don't even have to wink. We believe you.
Deliver information. What's the official role of? What's your official title called?
So the official title is I'm an engagement manager.
Engagement manager.
So in terms of that, it's more specific with what's going on with the projects.
Yeah.
So we work with a lot of people in a lot of different industries. So there's no one particular thing, but essentially we have this network of people that have these informations. You might have a tenured doctor that has done 20 years of research for this particular niche thing in the medical world, right? Or you might have a lawyer that's really good with a very specific thing with I don't know, anything.
Interesting.
Tech, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I'm
Yeah.
understanding this correctly, you'll be able to connect these like super smart people
Correct.
with the people that need that information.
Exactly.
Do you do like interviews too? Like, do you sign up for interviews for the two people?
That's a part of the process for our team. That's
Yeah.
not what I do. Essentially,
Got ya.
when the dotted line is signed, that's when it gets shipped off to me. And then it's in my care until it's completed,
Yeah.
or it's no longer needs to be required.
Is it kind of like project managing, but with
yeah, in a way,
communication?
yeah, exactly. So
Hmm.
think of me as the letter B, obviously, and then we start with A and then we have C. So I'm in the middle, and
Mhm.
I'm just amplifying any communications or just facilitating
Wow.
that relationship, because apparently these
Yeah.
people don't want to get in the room and do this by themselves.
Yeah.
I guess it takes
You're
time,
like
it takes
the
money.
messenger.
Right. So I'll do that. I'll do updates, monthly check-ins,
Mhm.
dilemmas, quick
Wow.
emergencies, things like that. My day is never the same. That's why my schedule's always changed.
Why
Like,
he saw?
Oh,
Because
that's
I'm
fun.
guessing are some of your clients like consultancy agencies because
Yep.
they need these experts? Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
makes sense.
Wow.
Yeah, I've heard of because I had friends that worked at McKinsey and whatnot. And I've
Mhm.
always heard that and like how they get experts, but I've never actually met someone that worked on that end. of,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
which always seemed like a cool business model. So, engagement manager, how much are you making per year, or
Yeah.
what's your salary at right now?
Well, way more than what I was making in Dallas, and it's guaranteed, but it's interesting because it's also incentivized. So, I think my
Oh.
base is 70-ish. I have to check. I
Sick.
think.
Wow.
70
Almost
something,
double.
but then we also get incentivized for things. So we get quarterly like commission checks and things like that. So that definitely facilitates things, and that's a big chunk. So I think after everything's said and done, before I'm doing my taxes with Uncle Sam, I'm coming out 80s, 90s. I guess it really
Damn.
depends. Yeah.
Nice.
Double-
So like double.
Yeah,
Yeah, close to
Yeah.
double. Damn.
almost, nearly.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. You're gonna need it out here.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it. I realize that I definitely need it.
Yeah.
All I think every time you said information, I just kept thinking
CIA.
this guy is literally a secret agent.
I kept thinking
No.
CIA, and then when you were like transferring information, like lining up, I thought mafia.
Yeah.
That sounds way more sexier. The mafia route.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
mafia. Yeah. Yeah, that could
I'm
be
into
nice.
the mafia,
Yeah, I mean,
I think.
I guess we can't glorify it too much.
I can't say too much about names, but I know someone that used to work in
the mafia?
as like a software developer for the
What?
Really
mafia.
How do you
Yeah,
get
it's
an
crazy.
in?
developing. Wait, you gotta run me through this.
It's weird. So they were running they're running a shop. I can't say what kind. I can't do too much specifics, but
Okay.
basically it's one of
Cool.
those mom and
Well,
pop
offline.
shops. Yeah, one of those mom and pop shops. He was a software engineer, and one day a rival gang just like shot up a local restaurant with the head honcho's son, and while this person was working in that mom and pop shop, tons of mafia just came and surrounded the entire area to protect like the head
Oh.
mobster.
My God.
And he thought he was gonna die. He thought he was legit in the middle of a gang where he was gonna die. So
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
if that's you, you better.
No,
Yeah,
no,
let
no,
us know
no.
now.
I take back everything I just said with the mafia. I'm okay with that. That's not my lifestyle. Not for me. No.
With that money that you're making right now, and now in New York City, how do you currently budget
Yeah.
all that money?
So in Dallas, it was a bit more consistent because I could really I can really plan out, how I wanted to go about my
Mm.
weeks and my weekends,
The
right?
back end.
Might do one day on a Friday or a
The back end.
Saturday. I'll give myself a budget. With New York, one thing I've noticed is that there's a lot of sporadic
Mhm.
behavior going on.
Spontaneity
So
as
that
well.
flares up with finances, like there's
Oh,
been
yeah.
nights I've had, I'm like, oh wow, I really should have stayed in, so
It's too hard.
it really is.
It's too
And
hard.
I think I'm still trying to get on roll with that because I've been here almost half a year, something like that, a little bit
Yeah.
more than half a year. And I still need to get used to that because
Mhm.
like though I'm able to save and I can budget, right? So like in my mind I have rent, food, extra expenditures, maybe like entertainment, something
Mhm.
like that, and then nightlife, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably nightlife's probably not the right word for that.
It's
But
right.
then
Going out.
and then I have an amount that like I'll dedicate to a certain account that it gets shipped off there from my paycheck already. It's
Mhm.
allocated. I don't have to
Mhm.
worry about that. It's always getting something, and that's for like rainy days,
Yeah.
And then I have another portion that just goes to like this is my fuck around fun, like
Yeah.
I can do stuff with it.
Vacations and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but in New York, it's hard because there's just too much.
Mhm.
Too many times I've just been sitting home. Someone called me like, "Let's go out, you bitch." I'm
Exactly.
like,
And
all
then
right,
you
all right,
drop
I'll
like
come.
$300, $400 on a random
Oh,
Tuesday,
it's
and you're like,
bad.
oh,
It's
okay.
bad.
Yeah, just
It's
happened this
bad.
week.
Yeah.
couple of things that you mentioned there specifically. So you mentioned, so from what you're getting on a monthly standpoint, if you don't mind me asking, like, how much do you set aside for that fund automatically? How much do you set aside for the fun fund?
Hmm.
And then how much are you spending on like just your typical expenses per month?
Okay. When I set it out, because when you're going through the whole job orientation process where you're setting up your accounts, all that, you can
Mhm.
allocate it. I forgot what rule I was using. When you split, what is it, 20, 20, 20, or what was it?
Oh, savings, investing, and whatnot you're talking about? Or
Yeah.
something else?
Well,
Oh,
I'm
like the 28 or 20, 30, 50 thing.
something like that. Yeah. I essentially set it up like that. So
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm always saving something. So it might not even be a crazy amount. I can't even tell you how much it is because I don't even look at that account. So I'm not tempted.
Wow, really?
That's kind of nice.
I can't
Ooh.
do it anymore. Like I used to do it in Dallas, and like every now and then I dip into it and can't do it anymore. So
You're dipping
now
in
I
there.
just eyes are off, but I know that gives me some type of security if something
Self-control.
happens.
Yeah. Is
Nice.
there a certain goal that you want that fund to hit, or you don't care? You're just always gonna put aside money no matter like what?
I think I want to continue to always put something aside.
Got you.
There's always financial goals that I'm going towards. I think nowadays, like right now, I'm going to continue to do that maybe for the next 2-3 years,
Mhm.
but eventually I want to take that fun and go into something a little bit more permanent, like maybe go somewhere middle America and like purchase
Oh,
a
snap.
house.
Wow.
Probably wouldn't be too much, and like obviously it depends where you're at, but
Yeah.
go about that and then rent that out or something like that. That's kind of the
Mhm.
goals I'm heading to with this fun.
Mm.
But I don't think it's too far off from that point. So
That's
Wow.
a good point that you bring up because I think we actually forget to ask people this of
Yeah.
like, okay, so you're saving money there, but why? Is
Yeah.
it for just like security to have for a rainy day? Is it to do what you're doing, like
Mhm.
have that money to actually put down for an investment? So like, does that mean are you investing right now too, or is that your like saving to invest kind of fund?
Yeah. A little bit of both. I know that every now and then I'll see something and I'll go into it. It might even be like bonds or something like that. Very like low risk.
Yeah.
Things like that. But I
Bonds sounds so weird.
I know.
yeah.
When
Doesn't
you
that
said
sound
it,
odd?
I didn't think bonds would come out of your mouth.
No,
when you
it's
said it.
weird. It's weird. Oh, I got my dad. He's got me hip to a lot of this shit. So this is
Aw.
not my knowledge firsthand. But I mean, in terms of goals, I think what drives it is like the sense of like generational wealth.
Mm.
I think especially as people of color, we're always going to be at a disadvantage of not having that being sewed into our fabric of life.
Mhm.
But the idea of being able to even be in a position that I can one day grow towards that or like, chart a path towards that.
And do it for
that's
your next-
that's the goal. Exactly. So that's what I'm looking for.
beautiful.
Though, I'm at the very start of it. So
Yeah.
we'll see where it goes.
We talked a lot about this on our way to House of Yes when we were
Really?
Yeah, we were not sober. Talking about
Not sober.
generational
Well,
generational type stuff. But like, if you don't mind me asking too, just your upbringing, your background,
Yeah.
That got you to this point in time. Like, what was the financial situation like growing up, and like, how would you say that compares to like where you at?
Yeah.
Right now?
I would say always middle, or maybe middle low. Always in a position where, we didn't really have to worry about, where's food coming from, shelter, warmth, luxuries, toys,
Necessities.
yeah, necessities, entertainment, things like that, trips, not crazy places, but we go on trips and this and that.
Yeah.
So I've always been positioned where like I could see both sides. Something people close to poverty or people that are just disgustingly well off and wealthy, and it was always interesting to see that, because it kind of makes you think, what route am I going to take, or like what am I going to gravitate towards more, what do I want to do with myself, because
Like, where do I want to be?
yeah, because I've always been in the middle, so it's like, well, I'm okay, this doesn't seem uncomfortable, but it's interesting to see both of those lives on both sides of you.
Yeah, I completely understand that, because especially for me, I grew up in, I think we talked about this a little bit, but Jersey's pretty diverse, but the town I moved to in Jersey was like not diverse at all.
I remember this.
And it was so funny to see the complete opposite side of what I was used to before.
Yeah.
Just puts things into perspective for you, right? Like, I think that's what made it easier for me to work harder, just because I knew like I was getting like top accolades, even though I wasn't even trying my hardest, but just because the people around me weren't even trying harder than, like, they were trying way less than I was, because they've already had everything that they.
That everything is a motherfucker. I think I was on the other side where I wasn't putting a giant amount of effort into things when I was younger, but I would see. I think it was because I was around people that didn't, but they had much more in their
to
family.
lean on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was much more, and then it kind of took me a while, and I started seeing that more in high school, where it's like, oh fuck, no. Just because I'm associated with these people doesn't mean I have this way to back. Like, I gotta get myself fucking energized.
You
and
stick around long enough.
Yeah. I was like, oh fuck, like I gotta wake up.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, and you don't really come to terms with that until you meet other people, and then you realize, holy shit, no, like you've been working all your life, and you're doing this for maybe your children or like your family or family members, things like that, but that's the driving goal. But it's because you don't have that. It's the absence of that comfortability that a lot of people do have.
Well, which brings me to the question, and this is just a hypothetical question, but why is it so taboo for parents to talk to their kids about finances and like what they do and how they got there? Because a lot of my friends growing up, same as you, right? They were just, some of them like well off, never asked why, never knew why.
I also, to this day, don't even know how much my dad makes, because he doesn't talk to me about it. And when I try to ask my mom, like, our financial situation, sometimes she like doesn't give me explicit answers. But it's so vague.
Yeah, and it's interesting to know. I think it gives you at least a leg up to understand how one person went to a specific path and then how much they're making now, how they got there, because a lot of times, like, you can't just be around these people by proximity, because again, the kids have no idea how their parents even got there. So I always found it interesting why that was taboo, because I was always curious with my parents. I'm like,
I'm curious too. Kind of same thing with you with my parents. They never really told me, but I think when I look at their perspective, it was, if we had to speak about money, it was because there was an issue. And so the lack of speaking about it kind of conveys, hey, we're good, we're comfortable.
Oh my
we don't
God,
have
I think
to.
you're right.
But then on the flip, you're not being able to see how they track to that place where they can be comfortable and not have to speak about it. You need to see how it's made, right? But there's always that lack of conversation, which never goes in your favor.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure none of us have trust funds, so.
I know. I don't know how I'd even approach that conversation with my kids in the future, but it's not about taxes and shit. No one wants to talk about that. We're talking about, like, the high level stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. What did you study, by the way? Like, from your experience, then when you decided to go?
Oh, wow.
Wait, also, how old are you? Did we ask that?
That's
25.
25.
Okay, yeah.
What I studied in school it's pretty much food economics in a way. The actual title is food industry management. Yeah, exactly. So started off first 2 years doing agricultural business management. And then basically the reference there is that you just learn finances, business, conduct, but all based on, agriculture, farming,
That's wild.
the supply chain.
That
It might
is
be
really cool.
national or global, really depends. And then I swapped. I was in the same college, and then I did food industry management. And what you learn there is pretty much the same thing, but that's when you're getting more like public policy involved and seeing how it works on a nat or a global scale. So, you know, the war with Ukraine, Russia, that's huge on maize and corn, and you know they're a giant
Wow.
exporter of that, about 70% in the world for that. So that obviously fucked up that supply chain. So you just learn how everything's connected, and I don't know. That's always been interesting to
I was
me.
gonna make a really
Wait,
shit
so how
joke.
what joke?
I'm not gonna make it.
All right,
It
the
was,
floor is yours.
it was
What's
about
up?
Russia and corn. I don't want to make it anymore.
How you got to this job that you're currently at? Because you studied something completely different, and then you
Yeah.
went into
Mhm.
Yeah. So, great question. What I'm doing right now, definitely didn't see myself here, nor do I see myself staying there. Luckily, with my particular company, we work with a lot of the companies and or firms that I want to eventually work with that are in agriculture and food. So as I try towards that, I'm
Interesting.
essentially gathering a lot of skills, etiquette, professional etiquette, things like that as I go along. Hopefully
Yeah.
relationships, and then I can land that. But that's hopefully in the foreseeable future, pretty close, sooner than
Oh,
later.
I'm excited.
Well, you're
for this.
you're kind of just a huge value add because you're making the experts money
Yeah.
and also hooking up the consultants with them.
Exactly.
So have you actually any one of them that's actually close to what you want to do, like any of the partners that you work with or the experts?
There's a few that are really interesting that are more specific, but I think it really originates with me. Like, what do I want to do? Because if you say food or agriculture, that's way too broad. There's so many areas you can go into, niche or not. Like, there's so many things you can track with it. But I've been looking at the more like the international scale with things. So hopefully I can do something with that. Just might be like a facilitation of interactions. You know how there's
Secret agent.
I know. I know. This is. I'm like
worldwide. Come on.
oh my god, he's a worldwide agent.
Come on.
Oh
yo.
no, I'm giving a false act.
What's that movie? Killers, with Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Oh,
That sounds familiar. It does.
Children of the Corn.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
It's just the
no,
word
you're
saying
okay. You're
international
okay.
facilitating conversation.
But you were asking me
Now I'm
how
just
I got to
imagining
this
you
point,
going
right?
around the world
Yeah.
going like.
I wish. No, I wish. I don't even know how I got here. I think what happened was in high school, I always had this odd fascination with science, but not so much that I wanted to really dive into, you know, the actual makings of science, but I loved it as a reference point and just like how it kind of explains part of the world that we live in. I think that was always been great.
Yeah.
And then there's always an appreciation with business, which essentially is just connecting with people.
Yeah.
And I think one of my teachers, she said, well, if you like that, then there's these majors. And she gave me like a list of schools. She was like, check them out. Did. And then
That's
kind
cool.
of
You had a teacher like
That's
that.
yeah,
awesome.
Not a lot of
she was
teachers.
involved. My science teacher actually too.
Wow.
So it was great. And so it's just nice to incorporate that because now I still feel connected to agriculture and food, which I think is just great because it connects the globe
Yeah.
and for
Literally.
nourishment for what they need.
It
But then
literally
also
does. Yeah.
doesn't make me feel as bad as if I make a little bag on the side
Yeah.
for helping that process too.
You know what? That's a great way to look at it because the whole world relies on food and the
Yeah.
supply chain, like every single country.
Yeah.
And they're always gonna. It's cool that your teacher is no bullshit. Like she was able to
Yeah.
tell you, don't take biology.
Yeah.
Like, do XYZ.
Yeah, it was flipped because originally I was like, she asked me what I wanted to do when I went to college, and I was like, oh, I don't know, business, and she's like, no, don't do that. Like, don't just go the one business route. And she's like, it's fine if you do, but this is the world you're limiting yourself to, and clearly like you like something. I remember I like wrote like a paper, and like that's when I got the feedback, and it was just I don't know, it was pipe dream just in terms of like supply chain, a few like potential solutions, and she just kind of ran with it and gave me the advice, and I'm glad I went with it.
Did you know though, like say for that major, did you take into consideration how much like that major was gonna cost school wise, and then also what the salaries were for what the job you're looking for afterwards, or not really?
Yeah, I think that was an interesting thing with my parents is there was a few criteria they gave me. They gave me one, how much does it cost? Where is it at? Where is it located? Two, where can you take that? What type of jobs can you get after that?
Oh wow.
And then three, which I think is a huge one, is it safe to go to these areas that you want to go to, these potential colleges too, just as like a man of color, just thinking about that. So it helped me like kind of frame it. There's a few places I was looking at, but they're just insane. Like UC Davis has a great agriculture program. They are top in the country, good. Right? But holy shit, it's so expensive.
It's like $65K or something.
Yeah, per year. It's crazy. And then my hometown, like my home state, they have a great program too, and it's $25 a year. Yeah. So if you do the math, you don't get the scholarships, things like that, or if you just don't want to be in debt, it's kind of no brainer there.
That's a tough decision to make too, because I actually don't know this, but like if you got that degree in UC Davis, how much more ahead would you be than someone else with the same degree from another school? Like, I don't know if UC Davis is like a Harvard,
right?
They are top tier, but like, I don't know if it's like Harvard kind of.
Right. I think it depends where you bring it to. I think in terms of agriculture, you got, I wouldn't say you have it made, but it's a hard feat to even get into that school for that particular thing, because I bet it's very competitive for that end. So obviously, when you have like, just take it back to like a school reference, like, law school, med school, like if you're doing well, there's already law firms that are looking at you if you're top of your class and you're just a freshman,
or they only look at
your first year, so
Feeder
exactly.
Shit,
so like they're already looking at you with that. I don't know if they're that active because it's not that route, but
specific industry,
right? But you're gonna, I think the big thing with schools like that is that they have the resources. So you're gonna run into a professor or like even a TA that knows someone of someone that might be connected to another thing.
That's a good point.
And you just network that way. So I think with that type of industry, it's just the context.
It's a great point, because like my younger brother's in Berkeley right now for computer engineering, and literally any software engineering company sees Berkeley in your resume, they're like, oh, we got to hire this kid because they're the top 2 in the nation for like software engineering. So that makes a ton of sense. And like, your parents, by the way, the recommendations your parents made, on point, those 3 recommendations, like
you need that.
What was this? Did you figure out the second point around like what kind of jobs were available?
No,
because you're trying to do that right now.
I think I'm still figuring that out. There's just so many. I think that was my biggest part, especially graduating college. It was not that there was a lack of jobs, and I know that's a crazy thing to say, but I'm blessed to say it. It was just too many options. It was just, what route did I want to take? Did I immediately want to like work for, I don't know, a Tyson or a Cargill, and then start ground up being like a associate supervisor at a factory for 6 months?
They're more tech forward than you think, Tyson.
Yeah. Oh no, they're great. They're great. I mean, like even Walmart, like their research and department's great. So there's a lot of things like that, but I don't know. It's just kind of figuring it out as it goes. So I think I'm more of an opportunistic perspective.
Just keeping your eye out.
Yeah. Always looking out.
Always looking.
I feel you. When you find the blueprint, let us know, because we definitely talk to a lot of people that want to get to not so much agriculture, but like even sustainability. But to me, those two relate in a little bit in a sense, right?
Absolutely.
For you personally, is there any like monetary goal that you have, or it's more of like it's not a monetary thing, it's something else that's like kind of driving you?
I would say it's the passion aspect of it, because the way I look at it is, if I'm happy with the job I'm working, the money will come. It seems a little bit foolish, very happy-go-lucky perspective, but that's just kind of the route I'm taking. But also what I'm hoping to achieve in terms of my passion and goals, it wouldn't go lower monetarily, only higher. So luckily I have that mindset, and I realize that. So we'll see how it goes. I'll give you
I love that.
That's hilarious. Yeah, one of my favorite mentors told me the same things. Like, money is just math. That's easy. It's how you provide value for others. That's the hard part.
Yeah,
and that's something that you learn along the way.
I love that too.
Yeah, because I think like even the startups that I've tried before, personally outside of work, they've always failed because I had the money first in mind. And I was young. I was young, right? So I was just like doing things. I'm like, oh, I can make money this way. I can make money that way. But you realize it's like not sustainable to live your life just chasing
Yeah.
You know,
The
But
value
I
add is
mean,
big.
there's value in that too, though. I think as a kid growing up, I've always been on the flip side. I've always been like I just want to like I want it to be enjoyable and something I
Yeah.
genuinely care about.
yeah.
But you can't always have that because at the end of the day, you need money just to survive, even be sustainable that
Yeah.
way. So I think you have to find that balance between the two.
Yeah.
Just find what works for you.
I feel you on that. And then I think from this point on, we could get into some of the fun shit
What's
that we
it?
had in mind for.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so I'll let Ronza, you kick off that segment in a second. One thing I wanted to ask as far as like two questions actually. Maybe one about just investments overall that you're making today. Like, are you investing anywhere outside of bonds? You mentioned bonds. Are you into like stocks too? Do you have like a side hustle that you're starting up?
I was doing stocks for a little bit and just realized that it's just such a gamble that a gamble that I just do poorly with. So I there's a few that I still have, and I'm like, fuck it, I'll just ride it out till the wheels fall off. But no, I would say right now I'm not investing as much as I was a year, 2 years ago. I don't know what put that on the back burner, but maybe it was just me allocating to that fund and hoping to, buy property or something like that or land.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what cut it off, but I don't know. No, not
How much did you lose from that investment, the stocks you're talking about?
It was a lot.
Oh, no.
It was a lot, so much so that
All right, tell me when to stop.
there you go.
More?
Right there.
This much?
Yeah.
That much? Oh my gosh.
That's big
Yeah.
any way you look at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big bag.
I'm not happy with that. But I will fault myself, just ill advised and just kind of going with the market. I think that's the biggest thing that was my downfall.
What stock was it, if you don't mind me asking? Like, it's like a penny stock or some shit, or like what was it?
I have to check again. It was might have been penny.
But it's like one of those that's not well known. You just saw like an
Right.
opportunity.
Yeah, and like
That's
getting
hilarious.
crazy returns for a while. I'm like, fuck yeah, double down. And then of course the second I double down, it's like, yo, you fucking
That's
idiot.
hilarious.
Oh no.
Oh, you guys just
Yeah.
brought me some heartache when I think about that. I put that behind me, but it's okay. We
Yeah.
ball.
Our last guest that was in here lost a ton of money off the
Oh, really?
Robinhood and GameStop.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Same thing.
The
He's like, let's
AMC.
double down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
AMC
sucks.
and shit.
Sucks.
Hilarious. I
You
want to
gotta
know
live
what's
and you
going
learn
on.
though, right? You gotta
Well,
live
now
and
that
learn.
you're down bad, maybe I invest in there.
I was down bad. I'm finally back, but yeah, you're right.
maybe
Yeah,
I'm on the come up.
we should talk after this. Like,
do
we
you
make some
wanna-
investments
Do you
Do you
together.
want to hedge your? You want to hedge your bets?
Let's do it.
I'll give you a good price. Yeah.
Hey, I'm down for a consortium. Let's do it.
That's hilarious. Is that probably like? Was that one of the worst financial decisions you think you've made, or have you made? Do you think there's something else that like tops the bill there?
I think that is the most conventional financial decision I made. That's really poor.
I like how you worded that.
Yeah, that was
I think so.
That was
I'm
but-
great.
excited. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
right, but you guys are too
a
much.
conventionally poor decision.
But now I'm like, what's the other
Yeah,
thing?
what's-
he's
Well,
talking about?
I guess the other ones are more of just like, I'm sure you've had friends that have ideas and you're like, well, I believe in you, so I'll
Interesting.
go along with that process, though I'm not expecting returns immediately. Like those are losses there.
Yeah.
I think I've had plenty of those opportunities where, not necessarily you get looped into something, but, you're believing in a person and you're not really taking into account the tools that you have accessible to you. Like I could easily like pull up a trends map or, just do some research on the news and just like read into what's going on, see what expectations are. I could have done all that. I didn't. I was like, I went
Yeah.
way too subjective with it instead of objective.
Like,
So
I like you so.
yeah, so I think nowadays when I do investments, I gotta check out the back end,
Well,
just to
now
see-
I love this back end.
I know.
Because I'm a software engineer, so it's like we use front end, back end, and it just cracks me up. But
Anytime he saes back end, your eyes lit up.
yeah, it's so fun. It's so funny.
It's
to
too
me,
much
but I
word
get it.
jargon. I've been using it too much. I've been talking with all the software guys as well.
I'd be talking to so many people like that too. Like, oh yeah, it's my back end stuff. And it's my front end.
I'm bad with that.
Yeah. But for whatchamacallit, for the investments that you made in your friends, for instance, are you talking about like were the kind of things like Herbalife or Verve? You remember Verve, that energy
Mhm.
drink that people, it's like a multi-level marketing scheme.
Wow.
Oh.
Like kids used to, or is this
No.
an
I almost
actual
got
company
sucked
idea?
into
No, actual
Did you really?
companies. Actual companies.
Actual companies.
Yeah. When I was telling you that, the reason I didn't go to Chicago is because one of my friends, he came to visit, it was because he's getting his own shop started up with something in terms of web design and, you know, like more media presence for like events and things like that. Cool. And so I know he did something previous, and I don't think I was directly an investor in something like that, but like I had something at stake. So it was legitimate in that sense, but like I get it, you know, sometimes you hit, sometimes you don't. But you know, he's still going. Definitely not doing pyramid schemes. That's not my route.
I got into
you said
one.
You almost got into.
You got into a pyramid scheme?
I almost got into one too.
I got the package
when I was like
shipped
14
to
years
me.
old. Same.
Mine was in 2020.
It's funny though. It's funny. Oh, 2020.
Yeah, he said 14.
I was 22.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, when I knew.
It was the shampoo one.
Oh, this girl. What's the name of? I know what you're talking about.
But like, I got looped in because I saw a story and I like messaged the girl, and then we had like a great conversation on Instagram, voice messaging. We had a Zoom call. I loved her. I got sucked in. I got fooled, and so I bought the packaging. And like I bought it, and then I did all the research. $300 later, all the research, found out what MLMs were. I didn't know what they were prior. And then I texted all my friends, and I was like, guys, like, what did I just do? Yeah. And then the package came, and I sent it back, and I told her, like, I don't want to be involved. All the girls in the group followed me on Instagram. Then after I sent it back, they unfollowed me.
Wow. That's great. What was the promise? That you're just going to make like hundreds of thousands of dollars?
Yeah, I just had to post a few times using the product and like all this stuff.
But did someone else have to sign up to? You put a down payment in, right?
Yeah. I had to get the stuff, and then I had to like get a certain amount of people to
under you to buy stuff.
I can't. And it was a system.
system.
Multi-level. There was the girl that was like my mother of like the group or whatever. She had like, I don't know how else to say it. There was like 5 others of us, and then she had an upper person that had like. I can't believe I got sucked into that.
Yeah,
I felt so stupid. I haven't told anyone until right now. I've been so embarrassed about it.
I got into something similar when I was like 14, 15. I was trying to figure out money, but it's so funny that you said 2020. I was like,
I was poor.
14.
You gotta live and you learn, right?
Yeah.
Investing in friends though is like no small thing to do. That's like,
I totally agree. But with him, he's more data driven, so it was a no brainer, and I will continuously do it with him just because I believe in that kid, and he's a great guy. You should definitely get him on here. I think you guys would have
if he wants
to. If he wants to come,
hey, I will set it up. I will be your point of contact for that. So.
He's doing his job.
International contact.
Look at that.
Okay,
you want to get
Mr. B? Do you have a financial fetish?
You have to explain.
I know.
Well, what do you think it is?
Yeah.
A financial fetish?
Yeah.
Something that I love to spend money on, right?
Something that gives you pleasure that other people may not do, but you do. Money-wise.
Money-wise. That I spend my money on.
Or save.
Or, just something that you do with your money that other people don't do, that you find pleasure in. There we go.
Nice.
Yeah, that was it.
I was synced up.
That was it.
Thanks. That made me feel a little bit better.
Honestly, no. I don't think I have anything. I think the reason why is because, again, my personality is kind of bad in the sense that I'm very happy-go-lucky to some extent. And so it like I'm more like I vary. So I'm like Jekyll and Hyde with things. So like some days I'm very disciplined. And the other days, I'm way too impulsive. Like, I went out with Mr. H sometime.
Oh, yeah. You guys ended up at a nice little place
spot
next to the gas station over by the Mirage.
You know how much I spent that night?
Oh, God.
How much?
$1,200.
$1,200?
Yeah.
On the tokens.
I'm so stupid.
Oh, my God.
I'm like... I was shocked. I was so shocked.
I thought that was like your friendly neighborhood kind of place, not the kind of place that runs you $1,200 like Midtown.
No,
you know what
that was my second time ever in an establishment like that, and
in the same week.
Yeah, because before I went with the same person.
I know.
The weekend, and it wasn't bad. It was like $300. I was like, bro, I'm stupid. And then, of course, it's a Wednesday, and we've had a few drinks, and someone's like, let's go. And I'm like, well. Okay. And then started up. I'm like, all right, I'm out after 100. And the next thing I know, I'm $1,000 in. I woke up the next day, look at my bank account, put my phone down and just went right back to sleep. I was like, nope.
Oh my God.
I would consider that. I consider that a financial fetish potentially. If it starts becoming a problem,
I can't
if
run
it
it
starts
back.
becoming a problem,
Then that is,
a
yeah,
financial
that is
fetish.
I'll check in
absolutely.
every week or so and ask if you've been back.
What's funny too is
I need that. I really.
I
do.
will. I'll check in.
I thought you were saying that you didn't have a financial fetish because like everything gives you pleasure.
Oh,
Like
no.
everything you spend money on, you're just like
No.
getting pleasure here, you're getting
No.
pleasure there. Yeah.
No.
No. So
Oh man, yeah, that was for sure the dumbest shit I've
I
ever done
really
with
hope
money.
people know what we're talking about.
Oh, it's pretty easy to draw.
you know, it's your
conclusions
friendly
on that.
neighborhood
Establishment.
establishment. Yeah.
Establishment.
Kind people over there.
Established.
A nice
That was the
crowd.
thing too. I was just too willing with it. Like I knew exactly what I was doing. I was like, I don't care. This is hilarious.
Oh yeah, you know what you're
Yeah.
getting yourself into. when you
Yeah, it's
walk
like
into
I was
there.
like to me it's a joke, but it's like, damn, dude, like this joke was not worth 1,200.
Yeah. When it comes to long term for you,
Yeah.
like what are some of the long term goals you have, and how are you planning on actually getting there?
Right. Well, immediately I'm thinking Roth, IRA, things like that. Well, seriously though, like just to have that in addition to, you know,
The
Ooh,
one that you
this-
don't look at.
right, exactly. I don't know. I think just having more established, diversified, right? So like,
Diversification.
there's no particular thing, and I think in this age, there's just so many things you can potentially invest in that can you know
Yeah.
give you returns.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like it's just tracking things to see like what do you think is gonna blow up, what's gonna be expected. But I've been seeing that like land is a big one. So like I think that's a big goal is like if I can purchase land
Mm.
to some degree and just hold on to it for as long as I can, that's a great starting place, right? But
Yeah.
in terms of that, I have no idea. That's why that's why I'm here. I need to connect with you
To
guys
be
with this 'cause
reflecting.
I think for the short and medium term, I'm solid. You know, I'm
Mhm.
good. But I
Yeah.
think I need to start thinking more long term, especially as I progress in my career, get more money. Like especially
Mhm.
after this job, I imagine I'd keep going up and up, right? So I think having that mindset already developed
Mhm.
before I get that, it's better
Mhm.
than me having to develop it while I have just an
Yeah.
outlandish amount of money. Because it's like, what
Yeah.
the fuck am I gonna do other than, you know, have soirees and
Good
do
plan.
what
Oh
I
my God,
did
can we come to a
previously.
soiree?
Nothing wrong with soirees or anything. A little here and there.
every now and then, right?
Yeah, but it's cool though because sometimes no one at the end of the day, a lot of people don't know what the fuck is going on, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes as you're just putting in the work, like things just start to come to you, especially in New York City. I'm sure you've been realizing now there's just so many different people here that are all doing
Yeah.
something different that actually connects to you somehow,
Yeah.
Mhm.
some way, you know. But I'm sure it's like one of those things that will just pop up in your head out of nowhere, and you're just gonna be like, "Oh damn, I'm like sold on this specific
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the hope.
vision."
I think that's the hope. Just something that jumps to my eye and that just like appeals to me, you know, like it's
Yeah.
gravitating towards. I hope.
It'll
But
come.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten to like anything entrepreneurship wise?
Oh, that's a good question.
That was a good question. What qualifies it? 'Cause I feel like there's been plenty of degrees that I've been near it, especially even with my friend. Like that's kind of like an entrepreneur excursion, right?
Yeah.
But also, I don't know. I guess for the most part, I've just kind of been. It sounds so bad. I've been on pace with the status quo in
Mhm.
terms of things like that. But I have been noticing I've been more willing to look at things a little bit more deeply, or just as an opportunity.
Yeah.
But no, I don't. Not really. That's not been in my blood, you know,
Mhm.
which is interesting.
It's kind of nice. You're aware.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And honestly, investing in your friends kind of
yeah.
gives you like a hand in it without having to.
I think that's
Touch
that's the
it.
closest thing to my life because I mean I have plenty of friends that are entrepreneurs and they want to do things and be their own bosses, this and that.
Mhm.
I've never had that drive. Not that I'm saying, you know, I want to just sit in this company forever and
Yeah.
work for them, but I've always just seen like a natural progression to where like
Mhm.
I'm going to be somewhere I need to be for the time being. And when I see enough things established or some type of
Yeah.
precedent set that I don't fuck with,
Yeah.
then I'm out and then I'm on to the next one.
Yeah.
But when it comes to just like the idea of being an entrepreneur, it just didn't jump to me. It's a weird one to say.
No,
out
I
loud,
like
but
that
I'm glad I
answer a
can voice
lot.
this.
No, I like that.
It's for some people that haven't tried it before, it's a lot harder than it looks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not as fun, not as sexy. Because like, imagine if there's always the dilemma. We're in our 20s now. Imagine if you're trying to run your own company right now without having any funding, bootstrapped off the ground. Like you're just living a completely different lifestyle.
Yeah.
And working all the time versus like what we're doing.
Right.
Right
And
now,
you have to be able to see the value beyond surface level. So like you have to be able to read some type of situation or like even like a person or like any type of potential deal and see how it goes the long haul too. So there's so much that's involved with it that I think you have to be willing to take on. So I admire that because that's not easy to do on any given day. There's just so much that's involved, and I'm sure there could be some type of self-doubt too, but like you just kind of have to stick with what you've gone with, because if you revert, then you just kind of undone everything you did up to that point.
Yeah. But it's like how much time you keep thinking short term, then you think long term bit, then you're like, oh wait, no, I gotta think short term again. What is the perfect thing?
Yeah, see, that's the crazy part about it.
The balance.
But I guess that's what expansion is, though, right? Like that's when you get more people on board that you can actually trust to hold this particular thing.
That's what we're about. This is real world action, Mr. B. He's about to send the coordinates to some
for the secret mission.
Y'all seeing this live, yeah?
Oh my god, gotta blur it out.
One of my boys, he has a podcast of he has like 350K subscribers on YouTube, actually, so it's a really successful podcast, and he always brings in these ex-CIA agents.
Is it the like conspiracy one?
Not so much conspiracy, more so I guess parts of it are conspiracy, but it's like the day in the life of what the CIA agents actually did.
Sick.
Highly
That's
recommend.
cool.
Yeah, Julian Dory, Trendifier.
Cool.
Highly recommend checking that out. Yeah, it is cool to see like what they actually do and how that relates to like what does and whatnot.
Mr. B.
Or Mr. B. Yeah.
The end of this is just going to be a bunch of beeping.
I want to go to the new Kith really bad. I'm actually kind of upset.
I'm upset that they went without us.
You think they'd be there for a while?
Let's just go and meet them. We can pack this later.
I'm saying if they're still there, I'd 100% go.
Let's go.
Yeah, 100% go.
Because they're not going to buy me something.
Yeah, let me just copy you $200.
I bought a shot glass from there for like $40.
Shot glass is 40 beans?
I think it was 25. I made that 25. And I lost it.
Could it even fit Kith in the shot glass?
Yeah, it just says Kith. It was really cute. It was black, and I lost it in my last apartment.
Oh, damn, really? 40 beans.
My dad loves Kith. Every time he comes to the city, we always go. And he always gets me something, and then he always gets something for himself. And I bought him a Kith hat for Christmas.
Oh, that's pretty sick, actually.
I know, I'm a nice daughter.
Kith is like one of those brands where it's solid. You know you're not wearing it just to be a hype beast.
It's sick. Like, it's actually cool.
Yeah. But you also know it's a little bit like too expensive for what they're selling.
Yeah.
So it's like a nice middle point.
It's a middle point where it's like you're buying it for the brand because you like the brand.
Yeah.
And like you just ultimately think it's cool, but it's not like Supreme.
Yeah. I like the brand, not love it, honestly. I bought a sweatshirt there one time that was oh man, that was
Kith
a sweatshirt.
or Supreme?
Kith. It was a sweatshirt that I threw up in at Soho Grand. Oh, that night I was throwing up at Soho Grand.
Guys, that night Mike was being pulled out of Soho Grand, and then we went out after him, and he was just sitting on the sidewalk.
And y'all were talking about drinking at the next place. I was throwing up the side. So I'll tell you what, I've never been. If you've seen Doctor Strange, that was me. I was going like this through the middle of the club. I've never thrown up inside a club. Well, that's not true.
He was like hunched over like this. We were blocking him so that no one would see him, and he just starts vomiting.
That was the second time in my life I've ever thrown up inside a club. But this time it was like out in the open. No one gave a fuck. And I was just throwing up in this little like...
In New York?
Yeah,
in Soho Grand.
The hotel.
The hotel. They had,
and
like,
it was a Thursday.
It was a Thursday too. Oh my God.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah, I was
Dude,
shocked.
the amount of people I've seen not give a fuck in the city is just scary. Constantly, like rats just jumping out of trees and shit. And people are not batting an eye. I'm like, was that a squirrel? Someone will laugh. A squirrel? Haha. There's no fucking squirrels.
Bro, my dog tries to play with them because they're so big. She thinks they're fucking
ew.
like.
Oh no.
Like, dog. What's the moving here? What's the craziest like New York shit? But not like out of the blue. It's like it happens often. What like New York shit that you saw? You were like, wow, this is crazy that New Yorkers just keep doing this.
Fuck. The amount of people that walk in front of like ongoing traffic. is insane. Without batting an eye, keeping their pace, they'll just keep walking, headphones in. I'm like, yo, that car is going 40 miles per hour. You're gonna get nailed, and they don't care. And they're like, if they honk at them, they'll look at them and stare at them,
Like, why?
and then keep going.
Yeah, I'll look at. I mean,
That's
I
some
don't.
confidence right there.
No,
I
they
fuck
do.
with that.
You get pissed off if someone honks at you, even though it's stopped.
Yeah, crazy.
Everyone loves
Crazy.
to act like the big dog until they
Yeah.
actually get hit by the car. My friend
Mm.
blew out his entire ACL, MCL,
Oh
all
my
that gone. Got hit by a car going 15 miles an hour.
In Delaware, you can't jaywalk.
Delaware.
You're gonna get a ticket.
I love the natural pause there. Where I was like, wow. Okay.
Delaware.
No, I'm not kidding.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
there's some
crazy.
places that take it serious.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just everyone stay out of Delaware.
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to buy laptops. I heard that's tax free.
Really?
Yeah.
Set up a headquarters there.
Yeah.
Give them
Oh.
tax breaks.
Yeah. Mr. B, appreciate you tuning in for the show. How
Thank you
was
so
how was the
much.
experience, by the way? The first time being in
It's
a
great. I
podcast.
mean, but like, look at the hosts. Like, you guys are killing
Aw.
it. Come on now. You guys are killing it. No, this was super fun, enjoyable. It's great to even talk about my finances in a space like this. So thanks for
Yeah.
having me. Hopefully, I have something to offer down the line in terms of updates and,
I'm
and
excited.
everything
excited
like
for you,
that.
bro.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Not an easy
That's
thing
right.
to do. We get it. That's why it's hard for us to find guests sometimes in here
Mhm.
too. But
I get that.
appreciate you hopping on nonetheless, bro. For everyone else tuning in, thanks for listening. We are going to be in Spotify soon, so we're going to go ahead and upload
Woohoo!
off
Congrats.
popular request from a handful of people.
From 3 people.
From 3 people in the comments. Yeah, we'll be in Spotify soon, and then
It's all for you.
as far as our handles goes, it's at eatmyassets.com. Except for YouTube, that's just straight up at eatmyassets. But with that, Rods, if you want to kick us off,
We will see you next time.
episode 15, Rods' favorite number.
No, 14 is my favorite number.
Just
Did you do that
fucking-
on purpose?
Yeah.